Hi, welcome back to our session on Tanzu Mission Control for service providers. In this module, we're going to take a look at introducing the VMware Tanzu Mission Control product and have a look at some of the problems it solves for our customers and partners. So first off, I want to spend some time talking about VMware Tanzu as a whole. So VMware Tanzu is VMware's modern application portfolio, which is not a single product, but includes a list of products and services with the main goal of helping our customers and partners with digital transformation in the cloud native area. So as you can see on the slide, we have kind of different categories and different products that fit into these categories. So from all the way to the left for apply and assemble, which bring over Pivotal and Bitnami technologies, all the way over to the right with Unify and Optimize for Tanzu Mission Control, as well as observability with Tanzu Observability by Wavefront. Here in the middle, we have our operate pillar with Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, which is VMware's supported Kubernetes binaries that we offer to our customers and partners. So, the takeaway here is that Tanzu is really an entire portfolio of products and not a single product. So today in our session, we're mainly going to focus on Tanzu Mission Control and understanding how it helps our customers unify and optimize multi-cluster operations. So before we get into talk about the product, I just want to acknowledge that technologies such as containers and Kubernetes are something that our customers are adopting if they haven't done so already. So because these technologies can provide a lot of benefits both for developers and operators, and these technologies are driving forces behind the cloud native and digital transformation movement. For developers, containers and Kubernetes can help them ship code faster. They'll be able to make changes to the application and push new features quicker than they have been before. So on the other side, operators will be able to deploy a consistent cloud-like operations environment because Kubernetes essentially offers a declarative style of management that makes things easier from an operational perspective. Another benefit is that ISVs are increasingly starting to package and deliver their applications in containers so that the installation and configuration of these apps becomes easier. So these ISVs can also provide our customers and partners with easier troubleshooting and maintenance tips in the event of failures. So finally, containers and Kubernetes really provide better resource utilization and isolation because they can help pack more applications onto a single unit of compute like a virtual machine. So the speed of Kubernetes and adoption is really skyrocketing in recent years, and we think in a typical enterprise, the Kubernetes journey often starts with small. So maybe just one team developing one application in containers, which is deployed on one Kubernetes cluster and one environment. But what happens when we scale that up and start to ramp up our production as a customer? These things can kind of scale up very quickly. So when more and more teams start to adopt containers and Kubernetes to develop and deliver their apps, the whole landscape starts to get a little crowded. So there can be multiple teams deploying multiple applications onto multiple clusters in a variety of different environments, on-prem, public cloud, and even bare metal. So according to IDC analysts, in the next 5 years, enterprises will build 500 million applications using cloud native tools and technologies such as containers and Kubernetes, which is the total number of apps built over the last 40 years, which is incredible. So with many cloud native applications being built in your organization, you can easily see this landscape can get even busier in a short period of time. One reality we're seeing today along the Kubernetes adoption journey of lots of enterprises is this big fragmentation issue. So application teams may be running containers on Kubernetes in different clouds. One team may be running on AWS, while another team may be running on a cloud provider service, managed service like Amazon EKS or Google GKE. That's a good thing for the application teams to have choice in where they run their apps, but it brings a lot of problems onto the ops side of the discussion. So for example, if I'm an operations team, how do I gain visibility into these clusters? How can I troubleshoot across disparate environments? How can I enforce security posture and compliance requirements across all of these different platforms? And what about managing cost and infrastructure consumption along the way? So all of these things are kind of problems we see our operation teams face with when kind of ramping up their Kubernetes practices. So, unfortunately, the operational tools that our teams are using today will probably not meet those needs. And a lot of Kubernetes management solutions today need to be done manually. So, if you're doing these things manually and managing multiple clusters in multiple clouds, your world might look a lot like what we see on the screen. So, multiple screens, multiple terminals, multiple cluster consoles, just to assign, a single role binding to a single user to grant them access into a cluster. So this does not scale as we start to onboard multiple infrastructure and environments. So as an IT organization, how do you manage this fragmentation in a way that doesn't impose limits on what your development teams can do? And at the same time, how can we introduce a system that improves the operational efficiencies and reduce potential error and risks for our ops teams? So that's where we feel VMware Tanzu Mission Control comes in. So that's why we built TMC, as I'll use as an acronym for Tanzu Mission Control going forward, to help our customers and partners manage this growing fragmentation as more teams begin to adopt containers and Kubernetes and run modern applications across multiple clouds. So that's the main tenet of TMC, allowing our ops teams to have observability and visibility into Kubernetes clusters no matter where they're running in the environment. So VMware Tanzu Mission Control is a centralized management platform for operating and securing Kubernetes infrastructure and modern applications across teams and clouds. So TMC provides operators with a single control plane to give the developers the independence they need to drive business forward, while also enabling consistent management and operation across environments for increased security and governance. So with TMC, your developers will be enabled with self-service access to Kubernetes for running and deploying their application. At the same time, your operators will be able to centrally operate and manage all of your Kubernetes clusters no matter where they are, at scale with consistency and efficiency. In addition, TMC also allows you to strengthen your security over your containerized application. It lets you easily manage security compliance over your entire Kubernetes footprint. And we'll take a look at all of these things in more detail in the later modules. But being able to apply global security access policies across entire fleets of Kubernetes clusters is a very powerful message for our customers and partners. So let's dig a little deeper into what TMC offers specifically to help kind of accomplish some of these use cases and solve some of these problems. So first of all, we leverage the embedded Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, or TKG runtime, to provision TKG Kubernetes clusters directly via the TMC console in the environment of your choice. And then we can manage the lifecycle of these clusters via TMC as well. So right now, TMC can support provisioning, scale, upgrade, and delete clusters in AWS EC2 accounts, with support to other environments such as vSphere and Azure coming soon on the roadmap. So full control over day one and day two operations for Kubernetes clusters deployed to AWS, and then vSphere and Azure coming down the line. Now, this not only applies to this manageability and observability, not only applies to clusters provisioned by TMC, but we can also perform policy management and access control over any Kubernetes cluster running in any environment that has an outbound connection. So you'll be able to attach clusters to TMC no matter where the cluster is running. So it can be on vSphere, public cloud, Kubernetes vendors like EKS, AKS, GKA, or even OpenShift. As long as it's Cloud Native Compute Foundation or CNCF conformant clusters, you can attach them to TMC that you can manage them all centrally. So when you have your entire Kubernetes footprint centralized under TMC management, you'll be able to consistently and efficiently manage things like identity and access, security and compliance, configuration and auditability, as well as cluster lifecycle management for all of the provision clusters via TMC. So it's a pretty powerful story for the platform. So multiple teams and personas across your environment can leverage TMC. This is not just for the ops teams, but for the ops and platform teams using TMC, they can enable developer self-service to Kubernetes environments while layering on security and compliance patterns. They can also easily provision clusters across clouds, set fleet-wide policies and configurations, quickly understand the health of the clusters, and even troubleshoot issues. For the application teams, they can easily deliver access to developers, deploy services and workloads across clusters, and understand the health of applications and troubleshoot those applications fairly quickly. And then finally, for IT managers, TMC will be able to give them a lot of easily consumable information to help them understand resource consumption and related costs, and also ensure compliance and security requirements are being met. And finally, the developers get true self-service access to resources without changing existing workflows or tooling. No more ticketing systems, no more wait. They can move a lot faster in these environments than they maybe could have previously. So why TMC, and what makes it different from other solutions out there that kind of try to accomplish the same thing? So first of all, cloud neutrality is really important. So unlike some of the public cloud providers, VMware, we are inherently multi-cloud. So TMC is cloud neutral. It enables you to run workloads in any environment and apply policies to groups of clusters across environments for consistency and secure operations, no matter what the platform is. As far as enterprise readiness goes, TMC provides a hardened solution for running Kubernetes in production at enterprise scale. It has a powerful policy engine designed to handle the most demanding needs of enterprise management, and it's multi-cluster, multi-team focus rather than a cluster-by-cluster approach. We also have a community-aligned approach, which in the Kubernetes space is incredibly important. So Tanzu Mission Control is built on open source technologies that are leaders in the Kubernetes ecosystem. Cluster API for multi-cluster lifecycle management, Sonabuoy for cluster conformance testing, and Valero for backup and recovery of clusters and resources. So the community-aligned approach assures that our users have access to a global community of innovation and support, and they don't have to deviate from kind of best practices of the Kubernetes community. And finally, SDDC integration is a very important part of the TMC solution. So with Tanzu Mission Control and Project Pacific or vSphere with Kubernetes and vSphere 7, share a common Kubernetes runtime in Tanzu Kubernetes Grid or TKG. So it works seamlessly with vSphere 7 as management plane for provisioning and managing Kubernetes clusters. So if you're looking for a management solution for clusters on the latest version of vSphere across multiple data centers, TMC is really the only solution in the market that can provide that. So that wraps up our session on introducing the VMware Tanzu Mission Control product. Join me in my next session when we'll go over some of the specific use cases that TMC solves for our customers and solution providers. Thanks.